So what I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit is the reflection after a specific event or experience that you have gone through. And with Omni Athlete Training Systems, we have a lot of individuals who actually train in different arenas. We have CrossFit athletes, we have High Rocks athletes, we have individuals that I would consider, I call them Apex or Omni athletes because they compete in multiple different arenas, not just specific ones like CrossFit or High Rocks, as well as ultra endurance, BJJ competitions, as well as weightlifting meets. And then you have your everyday human being who is just trying to get out of pain, who's trying to just go ahead and feel better and live better in their life to go ahead and support their family and those around them. One of the biggest things that we often see is everyone wants to dive deep into the competition or the experience within the first pretty much 12 to 24 hours of that event. And what I want to go ahead and highlight is that we need to go ahead and let this experience actually cook, meaning that you need to go ahead and take time to separate from it, not really get super close to it just yet. And the reason for that is because we are currently in that state of emotional drive that allows for you to go ahead and realize that you might not be thinking clearly, or you might be looking at things in a different way than you would if you gave some space to it to let that experience actually cook and breathe. So something that I found that was super beneficial for myself when it came to actually reflecting and debriefing after events started actually when I was a reconnaissance Marine doing missions out in Afghanistan and Iraq, and working in those teams where we would come back from missions and we would actually sit for a few hours, even sometimes 12 hours, before we really would dive into the intricacies of that mission as a whole. And what I'm trying to say here and talk a lot about is the fact that we didn't just turn our brains off from that. We focused on taking care of our gear. We started taking care of ourselves. We started to go ahead and get ourselves back into a state that didn't leave us in an emotional and vulnerable place. We wanted to go ahead and get ourselves back into a place that we can look at things in a very clear headspace as well. So what I ended up doing is I ended up creating a 5-step process that allows for you to go ahead and pretty much reflect and process those events. And this is something I like to do for myself. It's something that I've started to bring to the individuals that work within the company just recently, because again, I really do believe that this is where we can actually break into the part of the human potential that is actually missing or was strived for if it was missed. And we can actually now bring that part of the human potential and put it in front of you to move forward with. Now, that first step is going to be immediate decompression, meaning that right after competition for the next 12 to 24 hours, there is no thought, no talk, nothing about competition. Try and stay off your cell phone. Don't go into social media and looking at what everyone else is posting. Avoid talking about the competition. Avoid letting your emotions and your feelings block that ability to let that experience actually cook. The second one is going to be more of a breakdown into event reflection. So if you are, someone who is in an ultra marathon race, and you can go ahead and now break this event into different aid stations. But this doesn't happen until about 24 to 36 to all the way up to 3 days after the event. Again, what ends up happening is you let time to grow, you let space grow, you let a lot of these things allow for you to go ahead and relax. All right, so that you can actually come to it with a clearer mind. So once you're here, you want to go ahead and understand that this is a time where you can start reflecting. This is where you want to go ahead and start spending time meditating. You want to go on walks without your device. You want to engage yourself and all your senses back into each of those moments. What did it feel like climbing that mountain? What did it feel like during that workout? What did it feel like during that fight? What did it feel like between transitions in a high rocks competition? What did it feel like between lifts? Or what did you think about, or what did you notice when you were walking up to the barbell for that heavy snatch? Or if you're giving a big presentation, what did it feel like before I walked out there? Where was my mind at? Where was my heart rate at? Where was my breath? And then also, what did it feel like when I stepped on stage, started talking with everyone, or giving someone a big presentation? All right. And the big piece here is we're looking at how the execution was, all right, how the mindset was, and what did we learn from the experience as a whole? Right. And the idea with this is to go ahead and keep it to 2 to 3 sentences per segment. Nothing crazy, just go ahead and dive deep into it. And this is really a big part of that. Step 3 is going to be a daily reflection. So after you've given anywhere between 12 to 24 hours, start diving into it for the next few days, next week, next 2 weeks, as you go through this process to allow for yourself to truly get yourself now deep into it and actually look at it from a different perspective. Don't look at it from you as the competitor, but look at it from a different position. And this allows for us to go ahead and reflect on what that experience did for you, right? And what kind of energy did you bring? What was the momentum that you had during it? And what adjustments did you do throughout that experience to go ahead and help get you moving forward and actually allow for you to really succeed throughout that experience? I'm not worried about the outcome. Again, I know a lot of individuals go ahead and put their peace and their success in what the outcome is in terms of an external leaderboard. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about here is, what was the process of me being able to overcome some of the adversity? What was my ability to go ahead and look at my successes and be like, all right, that's great, but how can I be better? Again, one of the quotes that I heard from one of the athletes this weekend was, I gave my best today, but it wasn't enough. And I think that's a really good point to go ahead and look at when you're actually in those moments is, am I giving myself the grace and the grit to understand that I gave my best, but there's more from me, and you're demanding more and you require more and you want more from yourself. That is something as a human we always strive to have. And I think that's a really important piece. So during that step 3, look at that daily reflection. This is a time again to get into the rhythm of the experience, zoom out to that 13,000 foot view and really partake in terms of what everything felt like. Again, what was the energy like? Did I manage my sleep, my recovery? Did I feel properly? Was I giving my love and getting love from everyone I needed? Momentum, was my efforts moving me forward? Was my thought processes, all those things in terms of momentum helping me move up the mountain? As well as adjustments. Did you make the proper adjustments on the fly? Again, were you solution based driven and not actually being in more of a victim mentality where you were just blaming everything else around you? You were actually taking responsibility for your outcomes of what was going on in the processes to allow for you to make those proper adjustments. Now, step 4 is going to be a bigger, broad spectrum of what is the overall reflection of the experience or the event. And usually I like to go ahead and have individuals and myself do this about a week now afterwards, because now I've gone through multiple steps. I'll be able to start piecing and building a better sight picture to allow myself to really understand what that looks like. And what I mean by that is you can now start to step back completely. Remove yourself completely out of your shoes and put yourself into someone else's shoes that is looking at it from the outside in. And if you can do that, it allows for you to really have some compassion, empathy for yourself on how far you've come. Meaning that you have been able to go from one place, one person you were before the event, you were a person during the event, and then now you're this person after the event. Experiences happen in multiple phases. Growth happens in multiple phases. And this is something that I really want to bring forth during this step of overall event reflection, is being honest and logical. Again, this can look like a performance summary. Where did you stand out? What was your strengths? What were your weaknesses? What were the gaps? What was the limitations? Mindset. What was your mindset? How did you handle adversity every workout? How did you handle the external pressures? And also, how did you handle the unexpected challenges and things that happened around you, the things that you could not control? And then how was your preparation? Really dive deep into what it looked like leading up to the competition, and how did you go ahead and mentally prepare and physically prepare going into those events or those workouts or however else you want to look at it. But again, what was your preparation like? And then identity. Who are you and who were you before, during, and after? It's a really big piece of what it is you do when you're reflecting back on those experiences. And lastly, gratitude and closure. Who supported you? Who was there for you? Who are you thankful for? Who brought you love and who brought you grace and grit when you needed it? Who actually told you how it was in those moments to allow for you to make the proper adjustments and allow for you to go ahead and look at things in a different perspective so that you could actually do what you wanted to do within that experience to find the piece that you need to continue moving forward. Now, last, we're going to go ahead and talk about step 5, the action plan. What is my action plan moving forward? We have short-term focuses and long-term focuses. What does the next 6 to 8 weeks look like, as well as what does the next season look like? What is the immediate adjustments, recovery, habits, technical things? You can look at mindset work. You can look at a whole bunch of things. This doesn't mean you go burn down everything. This means that you take a systematic approach from a low skill, low stress approach, and you start chipping away at those things from a short-term perspective. Second, then we go into that long-term focus, all right, where we're building the habits, we're building the blocks that allow for us to go ahead and get us moving forward for those bigger things across the board going into the next season or the next event. Again, it depends on how you want to go ahead and approach this. Are you going to be fully honest with yourself and really reflect and be truthful about it? Or are you going to go ahead and have biases towards things and blame everything else on everyone else? Again, this reflection process is really good for you. Another big thing I'd like to go ahead and bring into all of this is going to be writing prompts. These are reflection prompts. This is prompts that you can use for yourself to go ahead and write things out. And this could be in terms of what patterns keep showing up across multiple events and efforts. What is the behaviors that you're bringing in? Did your recovery systems work? Food, hydration, sleep, stress management, time management. Did those all hold up and give you the ability to perform at the level that you wanted to, right? What qualities separated you from the field and your competitors and allow for you to, again, also to perform? Were they better or were they worse? The next prompt could be, what 3 words described how you compete? Again, what these reflections allow for you to do is actually develop action plans, and it lets you actually apply what it is you have reflected on and apply it to the new ways you are going to be moving forward in. Again, this 5-step reflection plan is nothing new. It's just another example of sports psychology, performance psychology for when you're done competing. And if you're someone who likes to go ahead and get better mentally so that you can perform at a higher potential, then this is something you need to be implementing into your overall training program and training preparations, both physically and mentally. If you want to go ahead and read the blog and read more into it and actually get a little bit more in depth, please check out the blog on omniathletetraining.com under the blogs. This 5-step process is for anybody. Again, if you can go ahead and apply this 5-step process, you'll find that you have a lot of really good growth from it. Again, growth doesn't come from being stagnant. Growth comes from always moving forward. So just to kind of conclude this 5 steps, step 1, decompression phase, which is anywhere between 12 to 24 hours. Step 2 is going to be your time to actually sit into those events. You're breaking everything down into segments. Step 3 is going to be now more of a daily reflection. You're going to be looking at it every single day, and you're going to go ahead and break down each event, break that event down into different segments as well, just as you did in the previous step, but you're really diving into how you actually executed, how was your adjustments, how was your momentum, and how was your energy. Step 4 now is really diving into how did you perform, how did you handle situations, are you happy, are you upset? This is where you can start kind of picking apart different things that allow for you to go ahead and realize why you performed X or why you didn't perform in that such a situation. What are you happy and thankful for, and what closure are you finding with that? And then finally, step 5 is going to be action plans. You're going to develop a short-term focus as well as a long-term focus to allow for you to move into that next phase and to amplify your potential both physically and mentally. Check us out on omniathletetraining.com. Check out the blogs, check out the website, check out the training programs. If you're interested in working with us one-on-one, please reach out. We are looking forward to working with you. If you're looking for reoccurring training programs, it's more generic, more template driven, we also have that available. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we look forward to helping you out.